In this segment, I'm going to speak to you about engineering and the innovation mindset. Usually, when we think about engineering, we are thinking about, some really hardcore stuff, equations and problem setup and a lot of rigor. But there is also a much more intangible aspect to engineering and being an engineer, and that is innovation. The frustration for some is that it really can't be 100% codified in a recipe book for creativity, but there are indeed some very good best practices that you can adhere to make yourself more creative and have that innovation mindset. I think it all gets down to, what do employers want? As a student of engineering, I'm sure that's at your top of mind. What do you need to be to attract the recruiters to your resume, your portfolio, and get that job offer? So I think it's pretty obvious that an employer would like someone who offers a good return on investment for their salary and benefits package offer. Well, that includes being an employee who can provide new insights about their product or services. Someone who can look at the way things are and certainly fit in with that, but also provide a completely new insight, a spark of, yes, creativity. Also someone who can work independently. If the employer, the department head, the supervisor has to be always at your side, well, what do they need you for? They could have just done the job themselves. So certainly there is an onboarding process where a good organization will provide mentorship for the new employee, but the sooner that you can hit the ground running and provide good full-featured solutions to the employer, well, the happier everyone is going to be. You've probably seen this cycle in other courses. It is a common problem-solving life cycle. In the software development field, we have an SDLC, a software development life cycle, that starts with the system planning phase. And a system request comes in, and what is produced out of that planning phase is a preliminary investigation report. Well, that mirrors very well with this initial phase in the problem-solving cycle we call identify. We can never solve a problem adequately and fully when we don't understand what the problem is, or if we somehow misconstrue what the customer is seeking or whoever else our consumer for the solution might be. So identification involves really slicing and dicing and picking apart the statement of the problem so that we truly understand every aspect of it and can then write that statement down very clearly as the preliminary investigation statement. This feeds into the next stage called analysis, where we are taking that problem statement and looking at root causes of the problem. There may be more than one root cause, and thoroughness and detail are important in the analysis stage. This flows quite nicely into the stage of ideation. Ideation is a fancy word for finding as many solutions as possible. Sometimes we think of brainstorming when we think of ideation, or whiteboarding, getting a small group together in a room and just bouncing ideas off of each other. This is the stage where we just try to come up with as many viable ideas as possible. All problems have more than one solution. You know that as engineering students. Which solution we choose is going to depend on those many aspects of how much personnel we have, how much money we have to spend, how much time we have to produce our solution, and many other criteria. So at this stage of ideation, we're really not limiting ourselves with those constraints. We're trying to, break things open into all is possible. And then at the target stage is where we decide on the optimal solution from all of those possibilities. Targeting may also involve, both in the ideation phase and targeting, may involve creating prototypes so that you can run an idea through some paces to see its true viability. Once we target an approach, a design, then we execute by implementing that optimal solution. And finally, every good engineer should have a post-mortem process or evaluation where we actually measure our solution's success by how well it is received in the marketplace, how productive our end users are, and also looking at the financial ramifications of the product, service, or project. So let's get back to the topic at hand, innovation. We need to ask ourselves the question, well, what actually is this innovation mindset? Well, in a nutshell, it's the idea or belief that learning never ends. So when you believe truly in your heart that you are always learning and that your talents, your intelligence is in a process of development, a process of growth, and it won't end when you walk out with an associate's degree. It will not end when you receive a bachelor's degree from a four-year institution. It has not ended for me after being in the field close to 30 years. This attitude that there is always newness and freshness out there allows you and I to create original thoughts and new methods. If you walk out, I mean, so much has occurred over the history of man that one might think, well, what else is there new to create? What else is there new to ideate? Well, every day we see new products and services because the world is constantly changing, society is constantly changing, the internet is becoming faster, and there are always new opportunities, and you can be a part of those. I think when we think of people that are the top of the intelligence scale, we think of Albert Einstein, and I always like to use a quote from Mr. Einstein: creativity is intelligence having fun. Those who play with technology are not only happy people, they are innovative people. So if you have the opportunity to write programs, build robots, just experiment with the Internet of Things, whatever your choice is, build with erector sets, I would say do it. Active play is a great stimulus for new ideas. So there is an assignment, but you can take a little time and reflect upon this now about what you can do daily, weekly, every other week perhaps, but the more often the better. What are some things that you can do regularly to express and develop your inner creativity? And there are some things. We break them down into about 5 categories. They are to express your innovation, exercises to hone your critical thinking, some things that you can do to help you become more analytical in nature, exercises, activities, and interactions that you can become involved in that just help you be a better idea generator, and being resourceful, like doing more with less, are ways that you can build your innovative mindset. What are some of the things that you can do to be more innovative? Read articles from outside your area of expertise. I mean, if you love aerospace engineering and you get magazines and you go to the airport and you watch takeoffs and landings and you hang around the flight control center, that is great. But I would recommend that you just compel yourself to do some bird watching, get interested in photography, read some art magazines. These areas outside of that core area of expertise just helps your mind become more fertile and helps you to see the world from a different perspective. Also, exercises like yoga, other breathing and relaxation techniques can generate mindfulness and inner innovative resourcefulness, use technology in interesting and strategic ways. Always keep looking as you just observe the world around you, how, hey, something that you know from your study, hey, that could be improved. This could be done a different way. Just always be looking for opportunities. The people that you associate with, just like the items that you read, the content that you consume, can broaden your perspectives. So work with people who are not like you, either in work groups in the college atmosphere or in your social life. Just stretch your social circle. To improve your critical thinking skills, some recommendations are to be deliberate in thinking things through. Do not always be looking for shortcuts, the fast way. Take a step back and be thoughtful. Redefine the way that you look at different situations in your life. Try to see things from another perspective or point of view. When you're reading some of these articles, journals, white papers, be, again, deliberate. Perhaps take notes or go through the exercise of actually critiquing the veracity of the information. Double check. Yes, it's work, but it's an investment in you. Be aware of all of your mental processes. Now, to improve your analytical skills, again, when you read, try to read not just how fast you can get something done, but read with a purpose. Again, activities like breathing exercises, yoga, just relaxing walks can relax the mind and become cleansing in your ability to have new ideas. Playing board games and online games, which have a strategy element, are also very useful for exercising the mind. Crossword puzzles, anagrams, other numerical and word cryptographs can also help to keep the mind well oiled. Having a regular sleep schedule is also a recommendation for just keeping your rhythms in a cycle. Again, your social circle, the bigger that it is, the more diverse interactions that you have, the better and more broad will be your thought process. You want to be able, as a good engineer, to generate new ideas. And to help in that aspect, you should question everything. Not to the point of being an adversary, but to question in your own mind, does this make sense? Is this statement based upon reasonable evidence? So to unblock your mind and become more creative, you should try to look for connections. often the solutions to problems in one area of life or society, that model or framework can be repositioned somewhere else to solve a similar but different problem. Also, don't be afraid of sounding far-fetched or sci-fi. It's true, some ideas may not be viable, but do not be afraid to think them. Do not be afraid to lay them on the table. You can get rid of them at a later stage. Sometimes it's a good idea to look at things in reverse. Start with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey says in his 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. Well, we can do that with engineering problems as well. Sometimes we can take the end and say, what would I need? What baby step backwards would I need to achieve that end? Okay, now let's take another baby step backward. What would I need to achieve to get to that milestone? And we work all the way back until we have in front of us a set of evidence or givens that are within our grasp. And we can just put the pieces back together in a logical order to form our solution. An idea that is also just another thing to put into your repertoire is the idea of the worst idea ever. This works in a way where you consider or open your mind to how possibly might this be a disaster. And so by considering the worst, you may, in fact, uncover the best solution. So in terms of being resourceful, it is often a good idea to ask yourself, is there another way to get what I want beyond the obvious? Can I get to this end using fewer resources? Look for parallels again in other disciplines. You know, we say in the software development field that most programmers and coders are lazy people. And by that we mean we want to tackle the very hardest of the problems, but we don't want to redo the mundane. We want to find those utilities or primitives and package them up so that they can be reused and we do not have to do it again. We want to save our real talent for the hardest of problems. So don't reinvent the wheel. Look for parallels in other disciplines that you can borrow and retrofit. Be persistent. Everything in life is about persistence. I had Chinese today, and we'll see if you can read the admonition. Great works are performed not by strength, but by perseverance. So that little piece of advice is something that you should put into your mindset and not forget that the way to many solutions is just not giving up. Pay attention in your English classes, especially those that are showing you ways to do research. Finding valid, trustworthy information is a great skill, so you should learn how to use the resources at your disposal, whether they are tools on the internet or in the library, or using listservs or other specialized databases. Why do problem solving and this innovative mindset translate into you being successful? Well, again, what is it that employers are looking for? They want the employee who can provide new and different insights to break through to new solutions. Someone who can look at something completely new that they have never seen before and still tackle it undeterred until they drill down to finding a solution. You've got to be able to work both in a team, but also independently, and you need to be a great communicator, both in writing and in front of small groups. I suggest highly that you be that person, you be that winner, you be that innovative and creative problem solver. Be well.